So let's talk a little bit about the different kinds of stucco. We have the kind I learned on, that you learned on.
Mm-hmm.
K-lath.
Yep. 3-coat stucco.
3-coat stucco.
Yeah. It's there's lots of kinds of stucco, obviously, and it depends on whether you have frame on your house, block on your house, combinations. Some people build metal stud houses and put sheeting on the outside of them. So you have quite a few different applications you can use. 3-coat obviously is the original, which is a K-lath with paper under it, and then you put a scratch coat, and it's a legitimate scratch coat. It's got a grooved derby that you use to scratch it and water cure it for a few days, and then you put a brown coat on it, which is the flat coat.
Romy, let me interrupt Doug here for a minute. Isn't one of the most commonly asked questions on our YouTube channel, what's the mixture of mortar?
On our website, this is one of our most viewed articles.
That question comes in from all over the country.
Really?
We've been asked that question on the website like 10,000 times.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So let's take them through it. A scratch coat. How many shovels is that? Number 2, plaster sand. It's washed plaster sand. You're not using play sand. You're not using river sand.
Right.
You got to have it rinsed and washed and clean.
Right. You get on ours we do one sack of cement.
Okay.
Portland normally when you're doing scratch.
Yes.
And then you use 1 sack of lime.
1 to 1. Okay.
And then we put 38 regular square point shovels of sand in. When people start putting too much to extend it, you have a problem with it curing and staying soft, if you can use that term for a cement product.
Yeah.
And then you mix it with water, and it's an eyeball test basically in the mixer. Guys know how much to put in. That usually goes in first. Some guys use acrylic bonders in their products as well to help them set a little bit harder, maybe faster.
The hardest thing I tried to learn, and I never did learn how to do it, is how to take the mud off the front of your hawk. I always had to go in the back. That's why they would never give me a hawk and trowel.
You spent a lot of time scraping. Yeah, that's for sure.
I would be standing in a pile of mud, at my foot. So the lath gets nailed onto the wood framing.
Nailed and or stapled.
Or stapled.
Yeah.
And then this scratch coat goes on, and it's a quarter, 3/8 of an inch thick.
Right.
And then we take this giant comb, and we deliberately rough the surface up.
Correct.
So the second coat, the brown coat, can have something to bite and hold on to.
Correct. Okay. And then after you scratch, you like to water cure 48 hours and let it sit for...
Really critical.
Very critical. Very critical. Anybody who's had a swimming pool built knows you stand out there and water your hole after they shoot gunite or shotcrete or whatever they use. And it's a similar product, not nearly as strong, but it's a similar product. And you water cure it so that you slow the shrinkage down and let it cure rather than dry out. Rather than dry out. And then when you come back after a few days of letting it sit, it's going to be cracked up, which is what you want to see.
Right.
And then you take the same mix, you hydrate the scratch coat that's there, and then you apply what we call a brown coat, which is the exact same mix as the scratch coat.
And it's still about another quarter to 3
about
inches.
The same.
You fill in all the grooves, and you're creating a flush, even surface.
Correct. And then you float it either with sponge floats or what we call neoprene hard trowels, depending on what your finish is going to be.
Okay.
And then you water cure that for another, I like to get minimum 3 days.
Okay.
You can ask Derek. He's been helping me out in Fountain Hills. We like to get minimum 3 days of water cure and on any of our coats, and then I like to let it sit for at least a week.
Okay.
So that the shrink cracks that it filled can migrate out in a much smaller size. And then when you put your finish on, you hydrate that coat again and put your finish on.
Okay. And we'll talk about all the different kinds of finishes. But back when I was in the plastering industry, and this goes back to 76, 77, 78, somebody came up with this stuff called Western One Coat.
Yep.
And so what we've been talking about here was the granddaddy of stucco.
Correct.
That's how it was all through the the early 1900s.
Right.
Right up until about 1970.
Yeah, that was before me, but I'm going to say, yeah, that's when I first started seeing in housing tracks.
Yeah. So, and then that is, describe what that is now. And this is what everybody now sees going up because it's still what we're using today.
Correct. It's a similar application in that it's layered. First layer, obviously, is a water-resistant
Well,
paper.
even before that, talk about the lath.
Oh, the lath goes on top. So you'd put your paper down, and then you'd put a foam, 1-inch piece of foam in most cases.
That's all these homes that you see.
Yep.
Wrap the studs.
Yep.
First thing that goes on, boom, boom.
Yes, and then you get that all set, and you have to mesh your joints between your pieces of foam, just a little extra reinforcement for shrinkage reduction.
Okay.
And then you put an inch, what they call an inch 20 wire, which is an inch in the opening and 20 gauge twisted self-furrowing wire.
Think chicken wire.
Think chicken wire.
Yeah,
it's actually
kind of like that.
It is exactly, just a little heavier.
Yeah.
But you put that on and you staple it or nail it. A lot of times you start it with nails and then you finish with staples on top. So you anchor into the stud, and then you put on Western one coat.
Much different than the 3-coat conventional
different.
we were talking about.
Totally different. Now they pre-mix it, or you can mix it bulk. And the bulk mix is you get a sack of the material, throw it in your mixer, you add 22 shovels of sand, and you mix it up for every bag. And that gives you a really good consistency and allows it to be a hard finished product. And it has fiber in it. It also has fiberglass chopped fiber in it.
It eliminated 3-coat
Correct.
stucco.
Correct.
Oh, literally overnight.
Yeah, it sped up the actual plaster process quite a bit because the one water cure system and one air cure weight that you take out completely by using a piece of foam.
And you take out the hydration between the scratch and the brown and the
Right.
texture. You're going over the lath
Yep.
with a product that is the finished surface.
No, normally we put a brown coat on, then we water cure that,
Okay.
and then we'll put the finish on top of that.
So you've eliminated the time it takes to process a home by how much?
A week, maybe a little longer.
And if I'm a developer with a whole subdivision out
Yeah.
and I've just sped up every house by 1 week, what am I going to pick?
Oh yeah. Every proposal request comes in with feel free to value engineer, which I don't know whether that's value engineer the time or in most cases I like to sell them on the time because it's expensive to sit there.
But it's more of an acrylic-based product as opposed to a cement-based product.
Well,
Now, what do you have to do now before you paint the cement? You were talking about water cured. I mean, that could go 2 to 4 weeks, couldn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now we've got this acrylic.
Acrylic finishes?
How do we tell when that Western one coat's ready for paint?
Well, I just normally do it by time, and then I go by and rub it. Check how much sand is coming off with your hand, and if it's very little, it's set up pretty good.
Okay.
It's just an old school way of checking things, and my guys check the same way. And once you get it water cured and sat, and then you come back and choose your finish. You'll either hydrate that brown coat first before you put your finish on, or you'll do it after based on whether you're doing a Spanish lace or a sand finish or a smooth missions finish or whatever you're doing.
Rosie on the house every Arizona